circus in town. That is a quote from the video game tie-in to this movie, Spider-Man.
I love that.
Yeah, you would fight the criminals and they would say that just randomly.
Oh, okay.
And, yeah, that quote isn't from this movie, but it's from the movie tie-in game. So yeah,
I think it counts. Yeah,
awesome.
It still ties in with the movie. You know.
My name is Nabahi.
Hello, I'm Wallied from Sergator Productions.
And welcome to the Awful Takes podcast, episode 76.
Well, it is the 250th anniversary of America, so I guess it's pretty fitting that we're on episode 76.
Okay.
So, yeah, I guess that was last week or the week before,
and then the
4th of July.
And then the team, the 76ers, right?
Yes, the Team 76ers, yeah.
Nice. This is the show where we talk about movies and we make recommendations to each other. And we talk about movie news that we find interesting first in our episodic videos. So if you clicked on one of our numbered videos, typically they'll start with the movie news that we find interesting around the time. And then we jump into the review. So if you're here just for the review, please look at the timestamps, jump ahead, go straight to the review and everything. And, let us know what you guys think. Thank you for joining us.
Of course, we're happy to have you here. We welcome you with open arms.
We do. All right, before we get into this movie, Wallied, there was a lot of, some interesting movie news that happened this week and a little bit earlier. So what are we talking about?
Yeah, so the first piece of movie news was quite the surprise. So for any of you that watch our discussions or anything, I'm sure you all have a Letterboxd account. We also do have a Letterboxd too. If you guys, please feel free to follow that too if you want to see the ranking of our recommendations. Anyways, Letterboxd is in the news this week because apparently Netflix, Sony Pictures, and Paramount are all in talks to buy the social media platform pretty much.
Very interesting.
And yeah, it is very interesting. So apparently their owners have, I guess, had early talks with a few number of the potential buyers. There's a statement a Letterboxd representative gave, and I'll just read it out here real quick. As Letterboxd has grown, it's natural there will be interest in what we do next. There's nothing specific for us to share at this time. Any decision about Letterboxd's future would involve the founders. So I find that kind of interesting, just because I feel like Letterboxd on its own is already a user-based community and everything. That's mainly what you see on the platform. And obviously you get the movies that maybe you don't hear on maybe other websites like IMDb or Metacritic or things like that. So kind of hearing like a major studio is buying them already does have me a little concerned, just because of obviously the monopolization that we've talked about a few times on this show before, or, just things like what kind of movies are they going to be promoting now? Are there going to be specific reviews they'll be allowed to say if it's, let's say, for example, maybe Paramount buys them? Are they going to be promoting more Paramount type of films, that maybe they wouldn't if it was any other, platform or things like that? So yeah, how did you take it, Nabahi? Do you have a Letterboxd actually?
I don't have my own Letterboxd. Okay. I don't really get on the site all too much, but when I do, it is, like Walid said, it's very user focused, user oriented, which I find really cool.
Yeah.
I just typically don't really get on that area of social media and things like that. But I find this thing very strange that a big studio like Netflix, Paramount, that they're interested in this user-based platform. I'm just like, what is the plan for this?
Right.
Granted, I know Letterboxd is popular and obviously it is still growing and everything. So it just might be wanting access to the data behind all these accounts, I don't know, maybe that's really like the only thing that jumps out at me, because it really, yes, they are somewhat similar. One talks about movies, one is a movie company, but I just find this move very, very weird.
Yeah.
And I really am curious as to why these studios want this platform. Like it said, maybe it is to promote more types of movies. Maybe it is to try to usher in like a new mainstream type review service, because obviously everyone talks about like Rotten Tomatoes, Metacritic,
right?
Cinema Score, things like that. So maybe they are trying to have their own user-based, review site. Which, I mean, I get it, but I'm also still just kind of baffled by it, because that's the one thing these studios that I can always count on them for is not doing things and not really caring about what people are saying.
Right. And I think what worries me too also with it is like, are they going to be starting to pay off Letterboxd members? Like if let's say they have like a patron, because you could get like the top tier, like you can pay for like certain tiers on Letterboxd. There's like a pro and patron side where you can like, change posters, or your reviews will get like more promoted on like certain movies. So that does also worry me, if maybe they're going to start like, let's say one of these studios buys them, if they're going to start like paying off maybe some of these pro or patron members to give like positive 5-star ratings on the website too. So that I think also concerns me if like say a studio were to buy them.
No, it does for sure. I guess we'll have to wait and see who really ends up with this, or if Letterboxd is still
just going to be like
do this
independent, its own thing. Because honestly, I think they can,
Honestly, yeah. I mean, a lot of people talk about it. A lot of people mention,
their four
favorite movies.
Can't tell you how many times I see shorts on YouTube and they have like, they're on the red carpet and they're asking the movie stars and everything what their 4 favorites are. So I'm like, I think they'd think it'd just be better if they were, independent, but I get maybe they need the money or something. I'm not really sure.
Yeah. We'll have to wait and see.
All right.
I have another bit of movie news that I found interesting. Obviously, it is no news to anyone. It's not strange to hear me say this at all, but I am a big avid fan of the Mad Max series that George Miller has created.
Yes.
And I know we've talked about a few of the movies here on the podcast. And obviously,
seem to be our most popular discussions.
For me, I am very much wanting and anticipating another movie, whatever form that might take. I hear it could be a TV show, a movie. I don't know yet. But the problem that we run into with this next film is Furiosa did not make the money that it felt like it should have or was supposed to. It just didn't latch on to the, general audiences and what they want to see in movies. There was a mismatch there. And because of that, the studio did end up losing money, Warner Brothers. Right. And, you're going to find it very hard for, this movie lost money. The movie before it wasn't necessarily the big booming success. Like, obviously, I love Fury Road, but it didn't make $1 billion,
Really?
It made it back its budget and everything, but I think the profit margin was probably very thin on Fury Road. So what we're running into right now is that is not a green light for a studio. Looking at those box office projections, looking at what these movies made, why would I want to double down again and, give you $150 million if I end up just losing it, And, I understand that side of it. Obviously, if you're not making money, why green light another one? So apparently George Miller, since he owns this franchise and everything, this is his thing.
Oh, cool.
He is now trying to shop it around. I hear something in the movie news, that space that I follow, is he is taking it to a few other studios, this follow-up project that he wants to get funding for, and that he wants to make, which for me, cool. If it means I can see another movie, if it means I could see a TV show, yes, whatever it is, cool. Like, I'm all about it. I really would like to see this follow up and see, a new studio trust in George Miller and hopefully get him the budget that he thinks he needs and that he wants. But I do see that being a big challenge. I can see other studios probably just, figure like anytime. This is really messed up, but it's like, let's say you're driving and you see a car crash on the side of the road. It's like, oh, that sucks. And then let's say someone comes up to you and says, do you want to get in a car crash? I'd be like, no, I don't. I watched it from the side of the road. I don't want anything to do with that, you know? And that's how I feel like these probably other studios are. They saw the amount of money that these movies lost. Well, that Furiosa lost.
Well, they saw their money burn.
Yeah. And they're like, you know what? No, like I saw what you did outside of that. And I think I'm all right. I don't think I want to give you the money. So it's cool that he's shopping it around. And I'm really hoping that one of these studios jumps on the opportunity. But I can totally see them not doing it. And I can see Furiosa being the last movie, which would really be unfortunate and it would really suck. I guess I'm in the opinion, and I'll leave it with this, is George Miller has such an amazing filmography. Let's just give him
one more,
you know, just give it to him. I mean, he's given us so much in terms of movie making. He's inspired so many filmmakers. And again, in my opinion, he gave us the greatest action movie ever made. Let's just give him one more, you know. This is obviously probably going to end up being one of his last projects. So please, let's do it, you know? But yeah, Wallied, what do you think of this idea of them shopping around Mad Max?
I think it's promising. I got some faith. I really do hope, like, whether it's a TV show or movie or it's The Wasteland, that would be really awesome. I think that would be like a great, like, triple feature, honestly, kind of trilogy in of itself. Oh my God, that'd be awesome. But yeah, it's exciting. It does have me very optimistic, you know, and it's, yeah, like you might be right. Honestly, this might be maybe his last movie, if anything, you know? So I do hope one of these studios does end up taking that gamble or risk of just being like, you know what? We love what you've done. We'll just give you the money for it. So yeah, I'm crossing my fingers because I do want to see more from Mad Max. You know, obviously I still need to check out the original trilogy and everything, but this is a world I just want to see more from, you know? And I think there's so many stories, there's so many places, there's so many different avenues and routes, no pun intended, that you can go into with Mad Max. So yeah, I'm always like, yeah, if there's a new Mad Max, I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah. So fingers crossed. Hopefully we hear something here relatively soon, or by the end of the year.
Right. That'd be great. Honestly, that would be really awesome.
We'll see though. All right. What other piece of movie news did you have?
All right. One more piece of movie news for me that caught my eye. Speaking of filmmakers we've talked about on this podcast, Dan Trachtenberg. He's carrying Predator on his back, and he's doing a lot of great stuff in that franchise. Obviously, I mentioned it on my year-end list with Killer of Killers and Badlands.
Yeah.
But some exciting piece of movie news here is that he is going to be making an animated family-friendly horror comedy called Freddy the 13th. Right there. I mean, that title's perfect, but it's going to be with Paramount, and there's even a release date for it. It's set for 2028, October 13th, actually, 2028, wow. Which actually kind of fits perfectly with the title.
Yeah.
I guess the project was announced last month at some film festival, and I guess they're describing it as a wholesome PG rated scares and laughs to the whole family. So that'll be exciting. It's be like a different type of movie for Dan Trachtenberg. Obviously, he's kind of leaned more towards the adult side with obviously the Predator movies. So it'll be exciting to see him transition into doing maybe more like a family-friendly film, especially doing like a horror comedy. I would definitely love to see what his spin will be on that. And obviously, when more like plot and first looks and trailers come out for it, I'll probably be even more excited to check out this film. So yeah. Nabahi, I know you're a big horror fan, and I know you've been loving Dan Trachtenberg the past year or two. So how'd you take this?
Yeah, it sounds, you've definitely piqued my interest with this. Obviously, Dan Trachtenberg, I feel like he's on quite a great run.
Yeah.
And him stepping outside of that, but also doing it in terms of animation. When watching Killer of Killers, that Predator movie that it dropped on Hulu.
Yeah.
Amazing animation.
Really awesome.
Really great animation. Yeah. And such a great art style. Something that really felt kinetic. Something that really captured my love of the franchise and everything. And just kind of put a different spin on it. So him doing that and now taking it to like a horror medium, family friendly, sounds really cool and really interesting. There's a lot of cool horror movies that don't necessarily need to be, rated R, things like that. They can capture a lot through animation or being family friendly. And to me, that's really cool. Again, I like it when movies feel diverse. I like it when, people have their own view on a certain genre, things like that. So this sounds really, really interesting, and definitely pretty much jumps to one of my, most anticipated movies of that year. So I'm really excited to see how this whole thing unfolds. Really hoping Dan can transfer outside of Predator and everything. Obviously, he's no stranger to horror and things like that. Right. Obviously, one of the movies that just really caught me by surprise was his 10 Cloverfield Lane movie.
I was going to say, that was a good one. I enjoyed that.
I'm all on board. And I'm really excited to see the look of this as well, because
me too.
Killer of Killers, like I said, the animation and everything was just so unique and felt, like I said, just really put a stamp on its own style,
Right.
So hopefully we can see it with this movie, and hopefully this will expose more people to this director, because as good as he's been and as much as I like his movies, I feel like maybe he deserves maybe a little bit more attention than he gets.
Right, for sure. And hopefully with this movie, it'll definitely probably bring him up to that like kind of status of him being like a filmmaker to go to for more, whether it's horror or action or even like family stuff. It'll be really exciting to see.
And one of the things that I'm hoping, granted, this is just a big maybe right now, but I'm really hoping that this movie just doesn't get put on streaming. Right. I feel like that's been to his detriment, unfortunately, that a movie like Prey and a movie like Killer of Killers was just dropped on streaming.
I know.
And had its just brief moment in the pop culture, sphere of the time, and just immediately just kind of forgotten, because that was really unfortunate for me. Is just, as great as those movies were, it was just so brief, people talking about it, and then it was gone. And I was just, granted, obviously there are fans of both of those movies, but I feel like if they were in theaters and they had their moment, we would hear more people talk about him.
Right. Exactly. Especially because Badlands definitely had its like time for sure, so it's like, hopefully with this one, I do hope it does get its time, especially because it is on the more animation side and everything too. So hopefully this will convince more people like, hey, animation's great. You should finance this. You should put more funding into this.
Fingers crossed.
Yes, definitely. But
all right. What are we talking about today?
Okay, we got a very special movie to talk about. It's crazy. This is our second superhero film on the podcast, or third superhero film. But today we're talking about Spider-Man, and specifically Sam Raimi's Spider-Man from 2002. And the movie is Peter Parker. He takes pictures, and he gets bit by a radioactive spider, and he becomes the human spider. And so actually it's kind of funny. I believe this was the first superhero film I saw. My parents showed this movie to me growing up. This was a big movie for me and my household and everything. I've probably seen this movie so many times. I can't even tell you how many times. And the cool thing is, this was my introduction to Spider-Man and everything. This was one of the movies that made me love this character, and specifically also Peter Parker too, I had always I think even more now I relate to him now that I'm older, but I always just thought he had just the coolest superpowers, especially in this movie. Well, I'll get into it, but he has the coolest superpowers. I love his quips. I love the way he can balance being, obviously the superhero, but also having to juggle, his family, Mary Jane, and also him like working a job or being in college. It was something that I always kind of related to, of like trying to juggle everything, and trying to keep this like work life type of balance, was something that always really resonated with me. With this movie specifically, I don't know. I think even now, like aside from obviously, of course, Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse, which made me love Spider-Man even more, I think for me, and obviously I also grew up watching the Amazing Spider-Man because that was more like my like time. Well, that was more my Spider-Man, I guess, as a kid, but I didn't really care for those as much. Obviously the first one had its moments, and then the second one, I don't know. I don't know what we were doing there with that second one, but then, seeing obviously the Tom Holland ones, they're kind of like, they have their moments too, and they're good. And I like No Way Home, but I don't know. There's something with this trilogy of Sam Raimi Spider-Man that just, I don't know, like even rewatching it, I'm just like, there's so much I love about this. This feels like a comic book come to life, and obviously I didn't read too many of the Spider-Man comics or anything growing up. I think the only other piece of Spider-Man thing I saw was like the Spider-Man animated series they used to have on Disney XD. There's a pretty cool episode that has Donald Glover as a Miles Morales, actually, that nice. I really love. But I don't know, with this trilogy, this feels like a comic book for me. It has obviously the crazy action set pieces and everything. And then, obviously it has the, this really over the top out there stuff. But also at the same time, it has really incredible heartfelt moments. It has incredible drama with obviously his Aunt May and Uncle Ben. And it's just, for me, rewatching it, it's just such an amazing origin story. I think this to me is like, this is how you do an origin story. There's so much communicated through the visuals, through even just like, small dialogue bits, or there's even just like moments where they showcase him like trying out his superpowers for the first time that I really love, and then obviously the relationships that he has with Mary Jane, that is just really warmed my heart so much. And then there's just so much to love from this movie, and there's so much to unpack that I'm excited to get into. And so anyways, Spider-Man is amazing. Long story short, sorry, that was very long and long-winded, so hopefully I don't sound too crazy. So Nabaki, what is your experience with Sam Raimi's Spider-Man?
Yeah, this was quite the movie. I mean, it's just to briefly touch on, not even just me, I mean, this and X-Men that came out the year before really changed people's perception on comic book movies. And I think both of those movies really serve as the starting point to where we are now with superheroes. These movies were able to come in after superhero movies were killed quite literally by a movie like Batman and Robin, really put superheroes movies in a bad light, but with the turn of the century and everything, I really feel like there was a unique opportunity to reintroduce superheroes to people. And had these movies not been as well as they were, we might be looking at a different space right now. And we might be, multiverse. We would be in a different time. So that is the importance. Obviously, people can pinpoint back to these movies where that all kind of started. But for me personally, this movie really defined my love of comic book movies, but comic books in general really got me into superheroes. I can have this movie to thank for it. I didn't see X-Men the year before when it came out. So this was kind of the start for me of going to the theater.
Really?
When these movies come out, watching it. I can specifically remember this because I was 5 and I was turning 6 in a couple weeks after this movie came out. And my parents agreed to let me go watch this movie and everything. Granted, I'll get into it in the review. There's quite a few scenes in here that are scary.
There's a lot of scary moments in rewatching it. I'm like,
there's jump scares. I mean, this movie, it's crazy, but I love it for that. It has that unique stamp on it. But man, this, like, without this movie, I remember after this movie came out, I wanted to read Spider-Man comic books. I remember my friend let me borrow this like encyclopedia that had a breakdown of all the Spider-Man villains, heroes, sidekicks, everything. And it would tell you so much about it. I was just reading through it. I remember playing the Spider-Man game after I saw this movie and just seeing the cast of characters that it had. I mean, it had a lot of villains in it, like Mysterio, Venom, just Doc Ock. Like it was crazy. And I just became such an avid fan of Spider-Man and just comic books in general. And again, I really do appreciate this movie for that. I appreciate my parents for letting me go see it at such a young age. And yeah, this movie just means a lot to me. And again, it's hard to explain, but for viewers out there who have their favorite movies, love them. And you don't even need to explain it. If you can, that's great. And obviously for me, I love to hear that stuff. Yeah. And I love to see people's opinions and viewpoints on movies. And I love it when they unashamed love their movies and they just, that's it to them. You know, it's so cool. Yeah. So yeah, I'm very excited to get into this review. I'm excited to talk about this. Yeah, this is going to be cool.
Awesome. Yeah, that's really great to hear. That's crazy too, that this was also like your introduction to superhero films. That's a crazy coincidence. But yeah, I mean, I love how this movie starts out. It has like this crazy intro sequence. Yeah. It took me a bit to realize this was actually like spider webs on like the intro, because I'm like, wait, what is that? You know? But it's
like a cool opening credits sequence. Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. And the Danny Elfman score throughout is incredible too. That's one consistent thing I love throughout this movie is the Danny Elfman score is phenomenal. He gives so many fantastic, like the Spider-Man theme he has throughout. The Green Goblin theme is insane.
It really, this score is really just so unique. Like the moment you hear like these drums in the beginning, like, man, you just feel something, you know?
Those choir vocals too are fantastic.
And it has just such a great build on it. And I love that it doesn't feel like Batman or Superman's theme, you know, it really feels super unique. And granted, this is the one area I think superhero movies miss out on in today's, and not even today's, even the past 10, 15 years.
Surprisingly, yeah.
A score can do so much for a superhero film. The moment you hear it, you're already anticipating, like when you're going to see Spider-Man on screen, you're already just like feeling an emotion of excitement of, you know, seeing your favorite hero, you know, and it really does suck because nowadays I feel like superhero movies really don't take that into account. And granted, we do get cool music themes and scores.
The Avengers one's pretty cool.
Yeah, that might be the one that I can pinpoint of like, oh, okay, that's cool. I know people really like the Robert Pattinson Batman theme or whatever, but
yeah.
Ever since the MCU started and everything, and then the DCU started or EU or whatever, I just felt like they missed out on this. Like hearing, I mean, you can play this song for just anyone growing up in this time period, and I guarantee you'll see some type of reaction of, wait a minute, I know this. This is Spider-Man, you know? Yep. And yeah, it's such a cool thing, like having an intro like this, having granted, some of the effects aren't necessarily all that great, but I mean, it's cool. Like it's
a great way to open the movie.
Yeah.
Too,
it's just such a nice kind of opening and showing the stylistic choice of, again, you have this printed page medium of comic books and everything, but how do you translate that into a movie, you know?
Right, exactly. And yeah, it goes on for a little bit and it's great. And I love the narration that you kind of get on and off with Peter Parker.
Yeah, they do it at the beginning and the end. And I think they do it for I did think they do it for the second and third one as well, but that's something that I was always, even now watching, I'm like, oh yeah, there's narration and it's only in these brief parts. Yeah. Strange choice.
Yeah. But it is pretty funny at the beginning with the way obviously Tobey Maguire's saying it. And then just like him running to the bus is like such a perfect introduction to Peter Parker. I'm like, yeah, that sounds like Peter Parker, you know, that awkward, kind of clunky, clumsy kid, you know? And man, I just got to say it right now, and obviously I'll mention it throughout this whole discussion, but man, this is my Spider-Man right here. Tobey Maguire. I'm sorry, Tom Holland, you do a good job too. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it is with the performance. He just captures that awkward energy of Peter Parker so incredibly well. Even like down with like just the way he like has his outfit and everything, the way he has like glasses on, you know, even the way he like talks, you know, like this is Peter Parker, you know, like this is how you do justice to a character like this, you know, and the way that obviously, you know, you go from being the awkward, you know, clumsy kid to being like, now you have these superpowers, you're all buff from the spider. It's like, it's such a great transition. And I love how he's able to emulate that transition with the performance and everything. Yeah. And his quips as Spider-Man is great too. I love the shot of where it's on the bus and he's all, yeah, I wish I were that guy kissing MJ. Funny enough, actually, I didn't know that, but the guy who plays Flash Thompson is Deathstroke, or Joe he was Magneto. Supposed to. Yep. Yeah. He has a cameo in that Zack Snyder Justice League movie.
It's strange watching this again and just seeing him. You're like, oh wait, that's him. You know.
I know.
And he, God.
I wouldn't want to fight me neither.
Yeah. The great thing with this opening, like in such a short amount of time, you show exactly socially where Peter Parker lands with everyone. And I feel like that's what some of the later movies do miss out on is in this brief nerdy opening. Yeah. He's willing to take any other spot on that bus and he's not even on it, you know? And that says a lot for a character like Peter Parker of you see the awkward people, you see this fat guy eating a donut, you see this nerdy girl, all these people, they don't want anything to do with him. And that shows you socially where this character lies, you know?
Yeah. And it's really sad, honestly.
Yeah, he's more than just the nerdy person on the bus. He's more than just, you know, there's something for the bullies to pick on. He really is an outcast. And again, that's such a great moment. And I love the narration on top of, you know, him being like, yeah, that's me. Like the hand knocking on the window trying to get on the bus.
He's all, I wish I were on that bus right now.
Yeah. And it's ridiculous. Like obviously now this wouldn't happen, but when I'm watching this movie, my girlfriend's like, the bus driver is laughing at him.
Oh yeah, I know.
Not pulling over. And she's like, if he was recorded doing that now, he'd be fired. And it shows you how like it may be a little bit too much, but even the bus driver is not stopping for him.
It shows how ruthless people were in the 2000s, I guess. You know?
But yeah, great opening and obviously great introduction also to Mary Jane.
Kirsten Dunst is also my Mary Jane. She's fantastic in this movie. And funny enough, this was both my introductions to both of these actors too. And they're both great outside of these movies. But I mean, man, she fits the Mary Jane character so well, you know? Yeah. I think her and Tobey Maguire just have such a great chemistry throughout the film. I love how they have these little small moments at the beginning, you know, where he's like taking her picture or, you know, or later on he like helps her with her lunch, which was pretty funny, you know, and I like how as the movie goes along, they start to have like more of a chemistry. They start to form like a relationship of sorts, more so a friendship at the beginning, you know? Yeah. But I love that it's like teased. They have like a romance that they tease upon that they do even better, I think, in the second one. But I love that that was something that they introduced pretty early on. I thought was really great.
Yeah. It's one thing to say with these movies of casting, they got 100% right. With all these comic book movies, but you really do feel it across this movie. There are so many great castings in it. And granted, I know we can say that now. Hypothetically, I think if there were different actors in these roles, we still might be saying the same thing. I think it's one of those things where Spider-Man wasn't hitting with the general populace as of right now when this movie came out. But once it came out, Spider-Man, boom. Now he's in the top era of comic book heroes. Literally, I think it goes Batman, Spider-Man, then Superman.
Oh, wow.
In terms of popularity, like anytime you talk about Spider-Man, man, everyone knows who you're talking about. Everyone.
Right.
And so I think, granted, with some of these castings, we have such an appreciation for them and what they do. Hypothetically, like I said, because it wasn't super popular at the time, if we were to have different people in it, I think we still might be saying the same thing. But they really get the casting right in this movie. Like that's just something that
That's crazy to say that.
Yeah, like
it's like a once in a lifetime like casting.
Yeah, like you have Tobey Maguire, Kirsten Dunst, she's great, and then in this follow-up scene, we're introduced to Norman Osborn,
Willem Dafoe. Oh man,
yeah, and it is shocking how great he is in this movie. I just appreciate him so much. Again, that is one of the things we have to mention is before these movies came out, comic book movies were not great. And to, again, be attached to like literally. All right. So let's say you have a failing fast food chain or something and you got hired there and you see the space around you. People don't care about it. It's done. It's washed up. It's probably going to close, shut down, whatever. Why should you go in there and give it 100%? You know, but I am so happy that Willem Dafoe saw the genre, whatever, maybe even saw the Batman movies and how much they butchered everything. And then the later Superman movies and stuff like that and killed the franchise. But I'm super happy that he came into there and saw the landscape around him. And he's like, you know what? I'm still going to give it 100%. I'm still going to put so much into this character. I'm still going to give it my all. Again, that to me is just how great this movie is. That despite the landscape around it, everyone in this movie still tried, you know?
Yeah.
And that this movie's iconic for that, you know?
Right. Yeah, honestly. And, I'll say he gives a 110% because, Willem Dafoe is phenomenal in the movie. And funny enough, this movie made me scared of him actually.
Yeah. No, really.
At a few points. And I love how, I love that. That's the great thing with his introduction too, is I love that you get to see, I love how well established like their relationship and everything is. He like sees Peter Parker more as his son than he does his actual son of Harry Osborn. You see how jealous Harry is. Surprisingly, James Franco does a kind of good job in this movie too. Yeah. Usually I've mentioned it before. I'm not too crazy about James Franco, but he surprisingly is kind of serviceable in this movie at times. But yeah, I love that that's teased upon really early on too. And I love that they expand on it more later on in the movie and also just in the other two sequels too. They do a great job with that. And I love how both of their origins, like that really is like the first like hour of the movie, honestly. And they do such a great job with just getting everything across, especially with Spider-Man. Like the whole museum sequence is hilarious. I think it's really funny that the teacher looks like the kids too. He looks like he could be their age.
That is a very shocking thing watching this movie. Like, I'm sorry, Joe Manganiello. He looks like he's 30 and he's trying to swing at Tobey Maguire, who looks like he's 27.
I know.
And it's just like, wait a minute, these are high schoolers. Like
that's like the funny thing though with like the high school movies around this time is they would cast like mid to late people that were like in their mid to late 20s. So it's like it's kind of like a funny time capsule, like going back and you're like, these guys do not look like high schoolers.
And I'm glad that they
don't do that.
They literally graduate in like the first 30 minutes.
Yeah, that was funny.
Just to get it out of the way, which I'm like, all right, smart idea.
That transition is hilarious too.
If this whole movie took place with them in high school, man, that might be kind of interesting. And I think it's really apparent that they only have, I think, maybe 1 or 2 scenes of them actually in school.
I know. Yeah. That was pretty funny. But yeah, this museum sequence is great. I love how they showcase like the spider is like, oh, he's gone from the box or whatever. And he's like on top of the building. There's like a spider web there. That was really funny.
Yeah.
It's
a great capturing of the comic book. Granted, not maybe in terms of narrative or story, but just the scenes, like the way the spider lands on his hand, taking a photo, you know, things like that. I really, really appreciate this movie for that.
The way it bites him too, you know, it's like kind of horror, you know, the way it like bites him and everything, but it's a great way to showcase like, oh, this is an important moment, you know? And I love how like, and maybe it's a little obvious, but you know, he walks off and you see like the DNA change. And it's just like on the side.
Shows all the powers.
Yeah. That was pretty funny. But I thought it's a great way to kind of showcase that exposition that doesn't feel like forced or anything.
One of the things that shocks me watching this is, okay, so he's there learning about all these spiders, learning about all this stuff.
Yeah.
Gets bit, clearly sees that this is red and blue spider, doesn't say anything to anyone. Dude, I'd be freaking out. I'd be like, one of your spiders that you made just bit me. And not only that, he goes home. He doesn't tell anyone. He immediately...
I'm not feeling well.
Yeah, and his hand, like there's a shot of his hand. This bite is like swelling. And I'm just
It looks like a mosquito bite
I'm
or
like,
something.
dude, like I would be freaking out. Like, granted, I just have a fear of spiders. But even then, I feel like most people would be like, hey, like one of your spiders just bit me.
Well, in general, I have a fear of bug bites, so that would definitely freak me out on that. And I'd be like, what's going on?
And he literally tells no one, doesn't go to the hospital.
I know.
Yeah.
It's because he's cool like that, you know? But also because he is an outcast too, so maybe nobody would believe him. Yeah. Maybe it'd be like, Flash would be like, oh, he's just doing it for attention or something. And speaking of this sequence, we got to talk about that scene where he's in the bedroom and everything. Yeah. And like, it turns into like a horror movie. It's like these skeletons everywhere.
Yeah, very strange.
It's a fever dream, but it's a great fever dream though.
I think it's one of those things that I love with this movie is it's very
Sam Raimi for sure.
Fingerprint on this. Which again, I'm at the time I'm just kind of shocked that this stuff made it through. But I think again,
of course,
producers, studio people didn't know. Granted, we had the Superman and Batman movies and they were successful, but in this new time period that we were in, the studios and stuff didn't know, I'm pretty sure, exactly how this was all going to work and what it needed to be successful. I feel like now, if this was Sam Raimi making Spider-Man now, a studio would look at it and be like, you know what? No, this feels too strange. This doesn't feel like all the other comic book movies I see now. I want you to cut out all this weird,
it's funny
because type stuff.
It's funny because I felt that way with the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. I'm like, you could see it there a little bit, but it's so restrained and far back that I'm pretty sure there was like a lot of like creative differences going on behind the scenes. So it's like, it's nice to see it like on full display with this movie.
It is why honestly, I think a lot of it made it into the final cut is because we didn't really know how all these were going to work. You know, there was no exact defining blueprint like the way it is now, because now it's like, we want to emulate this movie. We want to be the MCU. We want to be the DCU, you know?
Of course,
And anything outside of that is too strange. And it's like, no, I don't know.
But that's how a lot of comic books are, though. They do tend to get strange and weird
exactly,
on it, you know? So it's like, that doesn't make too much sense to me. But yeah, this montage sequence is insane, you know? And then the way he wakes up, I think it's such a great way to showcase like the transition from him being, you know, Peter Parker to now being this like, you know, human spider. I'm going to keep saying that because I think it's hilarious. But, you know, the way he like, it's such a great shot too. You know, he like puts the glasses on, they're all like super blurry and then just takes them off, you know, and he keeps like, it's such a
simple stuff.
Very simple stuff. And you just see it like, he's all, you see himself in the mirror. He's all, whoa. And then his Aunt May comes. There's a funny line. He was all, yeah, I've changed. And then he looks down. He's all, big change.
That's great. And I like this. I really feel like, granted, this is a one-off, which is cool, but I would have liked maybe just a little bit more scenes with this of you just found out you have powers.
Right.
But you have to go to school that same morning, you know? I really would have liked to see like what his whole day looked like. I think it kind of culminates maybe a little bit fast with the fight with Flash and everything.
It does happen pretty quickly,
To give such a young person these powers, what would they do with it on their first day? You know, how would that work?
Well, it's cool.
Like it's like granted, I love the kind of like the arrogance of it, of giving someone powers, and he's not exactly the defined superhero that we know and love yet.
Of course,
you know, in those moments that he's still learning and he's still figuring it out, what can happen in that time period? Because so many people point to, before he was bitten and after he was bitten. But there's a little middle part there where he's not fully Spider-Man yet. He's not the hero. And he's also not the person he was before, because he wakes up, looks at himself in the mirror, and he's like, no, there's a big change. I'm different. So I would have maybe liked maybe a little bit more, but I do like this whole sequence of him shooting the web and it gets on the lunch tray, or like him catching Mary Jane and catching all this food.
I heard they had to do like 100 takes of that shot. Yeah. Apparently they spent a whole day just him trying to get perfect that whole shot. And
it's crazy.
It feels like that. Yeah.
CGI.
Yeah, honestly, unless it's Fincher. But but yeah, honestly, that would be CGI. Yeah. But it's a really cool shot though, and it's a great moment for sure. And I love that it's still pretty awkward between them two. It's like a great little awkward interaction that I love. You know? And then I like
throwing the lunch
at Flash Thompson. Yeah, and that kind of starts the fight. And then what makes it funnier too is he walks out of the hall. He walks out of the cafeteria, and you could just still see the tray going. Yeah, that was so great.
That was great.
And I think the reason why I like this kind of iteration of Spider-Man is I like that it's a genetic thing rather than because obviously in the other two Spider-Man iterations, it's oh, he made it with a gadget or something. I'm if he got bitten by a spider, wouldn't it make sense to have it being in his blood and everything? You know,
I honestly see both sides, because this was my introduction to Spider-Man. So
me too.
When I'm watching reading comic books, watching the show, or playing video games, and to find out, oh, he has web cartridges, I was like, wait, what? That's weird.
Yeah, me too.
But I understand both sides, because while I really love this, the idea of someone being, especially with Peter Parker, as smart as he is, showing that he can make something like that, I'm like, all right, I understand. You're showing an aspect of a character
scientist,
without the powers, before he got the super strength and everything. You still have a really intelligent person. You still have a guy who is super smart, can build these complex, gadgets and stuff, which I do like that side of the character as well. One of the things that I really love in this movie that some of the other movies I feel jump over really fast, and maybe I feel it somewhat in maybe Amazing Spider-Man 2 or whatever, but the Spidey sense sequence of them zooming in on the fly or the spitball, and showing
and the paper plane,
showing his perspective on what spider sense really is, and seeing the fist come in, and to him it's no effort. He literally, it's he slows down time and he's able to dodge everything. Such a great visual representation of spider sense power, And not only that, the sound design of him hearing that, I swear, is just so iconic, because it's now when I hear or see spider sense or whatever, I think of this. I think of that sound. I think of him slowing down time and trying to figure out where the threat is coming from. And unfortunately, in the MCU, I feel they don't even show it at all.
Surprisingly, and I don't know why they haven't.
I think they show it briefly in the third movie, but really? That's one aspect of the character that I just really love, and you can really show that side of it. And I think with Sam Raimi and his lens that he has, his horror lens that he kind of came from, really showed how maybe kind of freaky that can be. You have a perception on everything around you, and you're just how does that even work?
How do you process that? Yeah, exactly.
And I love the visual representation of that. It's great.
Of course. Yeah. It's a fantastic sequence. The way it's shown throughout, the way it the pans the camera and everything was really awesome, really cool. Too. And the way it shows the school bell and everything, that freaked me out a little bit as a kid, actually.
Yeah. And then he gets in with this fight with Flash and everything. And
great fight sequence.
I wouldn't want to fight me neither.
You wouldn't want to fight me neither. I like when the other bully comes in.
Great line.
It's an incredible line.
And then the other guy comes in, tries to grab him.
And he's all, oh, I got him. And then he moves him out of the way. Yeah. Or I like when Peter punches Flash all the way down, and then hits the principal's legs and like the principal's lunch tray like falls on him again. Yeah. That was a great karma moment.
Or like the line of MJ, she's all, help him, Harry. And he's like, which one? It's like Peter just did like 3 backflips.
I know. The reaction is hilarious.
Yeah. And granted, like I said, I really enjoy these scenes and everything.
There could have been a scene or two more for sure. It
just feels kind of short because then we jump to him getting, you know,
well, he leaves
crawling on the
school,
walls and everything, and it's cool.
I actually thought that was on my finger when I was a kid. You know,
no,
they show that close-up shot, extreme close-up shot. It's all like the, I don't know what they're called, but they're like these little spikes that like pop up on his finger, and I was like, wait, I can't see them. Where are they?
And it really, like, this is the advantage you get from a director like Sam Raimi, is it almost shows it in like a kind of body horror kind of sense of him looking at his hand, is like being able to dial in so well that he sees the mutation happening in real time. And it's just like, wait, what the heck?
Yeah, but granted, it's kind of scary.
They don't show it like in a scary sense, because then he starts climbing the wall and everything, and it's great. Woo! Yeah. And that's such a great sequence. Again, like,
fly.
You give someone like Peter Parker powers, he's excited by it. You know, he's jumping on the roof. But then again, the other side, the fear of it. You know, he shoots his web, and amazing visual humor of him trying to figure out how to activate this web, and it shows his hand all these different times. Like, go web, go, Shazam, you know, all this stuff.
Whoa, Shazam?
Yeah.
There's 2 DC references in this movie.
There is. And that's such a great visual humor. Like, just something simple, showing his hand. And I love this movie for that.
And I love that he's still trying to figure it out. He doesn't know like everything about his powers, you know? And I love that so much. And him
swinging across.
Yeah, he streaks through like the the crane. Yeah, that was a hilarious
literally
moment.
Such a Spider-Man scene of just like someone has these amazing powers above everyone, and then below everyone, it's almost like they just don't even pay any mind. They don't care, you know? He's literally swinging across the street screaming.
I know.
And everyone's going about their daily life below him, which is amazing. And then he hits the wall, which is so funny.
Yeah.
He like slides down.
That was a great slapstick moment.
Really great.
The only thing is, I will say that did like catch me off guard is some of the dated CGI where he's jumping off when he's jumping on the
like
buildings.
Rubber banding.
He looks like a PS2 character. Yeah. Maybe it could be that Spider-Man video game. Maybe they're testing it out.
Yeah, honestly. Yeah, it does. That's some of the shots in that. I think
I will say that is like the only thing.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's a great sequence and everything. And the way it transitions too is also like kind of a little sad too, where it's like he comes back home. I like that he calls him Michelangelo. That's like kind of funny. But it's like the scene where he goes back home because he was promising like he was gonna help Uncle Ben paint, and it's like, oh man, you know, and you see like most of it's painted, and it's like, man, it's kind of sad, but it's also like, you know, it kind of shows you like when you grow up, you know, it's like sometimes you won't have that time to spend with like family members and things like, or honestly, you don't have that time to spend with family members because obviously, you know, you're still trying to figure out the world around you. Obviously, in this case, it's him trying to figure out his superpowers, you know, and it's like, I think that scene, I think it's such a small moment too, but I think it like perfectly encapsulates, you know, like growing up and everything. And it's like,
it's a great representation of not only, well, it's a great representation of the character of, you know, when you don't make up that time while you're Spider-Man crawling on the walls, swinging webs, you know, doing all that stuff. Life doesn't stop for you then to just come back and fit seamlessly back into it, you know, and that's a great representation. Granted, it is small, but
it's the challenge.
It's the start of it, you know, of him realizing I'm doing both. I'm going to have to do both, but I don't get to pick and choose on when that is, you know, as much as I would have wanted to be here for Uncle Ben and help him with this. I didn't choose when to do this, you know, and that's such a great representation of the character because, you know, as what he is, you know, is a person torn between two worlds. He has this responsibility, this feeling that, you know, he has to do this. He has to help people. He has to be this hero. But then selfishly, he also has the other side. of, I want my own life. I want to do all this stuff. I want to live it how I normally did. And that's such a tragedy of this character. That's such the great thing about this character. And I just love that. It's such a great moment, even in such an infantile stage of him barely learning his powers. He's already missing out on stuff. And it's just that simple thing of painting the kitchen. That's such a great representation of this character.
Absolutely. And yeah, I know, like, rewatching it, it was just like, oh yeah, that broke my heart. You know, it's just like, you never want to take those people for granted in your life, because you never know how long they're going to be there with you, you know? So, and then on top of it, you get that other sequence, you get that other scene where, you see Peter, looking at, obviously he's neighbors with MJ, and you see that she doesn't have like this great home life and everything, and he goes to take out the trash. And I love this like conversation that they have together, and it surprisingly doesn't feel like awkward compared to like the last couple of times they've interacted. It feels like they've been friends for like a long time or something,
Yeah. And you get a sense of who Spider-Man is in this conversation. And Peter Parker is this guy who is there for people how they need them, He's talking to her, trying to reassure her of what she wants, her life plans and everything, and show her that, it's not stupid to think in this way. You can have these ambitions and everything, because she's almost like downplaying herself.
Right.
And he's there to help give her confidence in that and be the firm believer in that person. That's such a defining characteristic of Spider-Man, is believing in everyone around you, thinking that they can achieve great things, thinking that their best moments are ahead of them. You and whatever you may need to do to guide them in that is great. And yeah, I agree. It's kind of funny because as a kid growing up, some of these sequences, I was like, I want to see the action. I want to see this.
Right.
But now I have such an appreciation for these scenes of really showing Spider-Man. And that's something that I think Tobey Maguire just nails so well, is the emotional side of Spider-Man. Something about him, I don't know what it is.
It's hard to put
like
into
his
words.
Voice, it's his look, and it's just something like every time he's talking in this movie, or any time in the other movies, or even his brief appearance in No Way Home. Spoilers.
Oh yeah, spoiler alert. Just kidding.
There's a calmness to him. There is something about him that just feels heroic, and I just can't explain it, but I just feel reassured every time I see him in this costume or see him as Peter Parker. It's just, again, it's one of those once in a lifetime kind of casting moments of, man, this just translates so well.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think too, with that, to kind of expand more on that calming demeanor, I think he really showcases like that character of like, everything's going to be okay.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Whatever you're going through now, it's like, there's light at that end of the tunnel,
Yeah.
I love the line. It hits so hard for me rewatching it, but I love the line he tells MJ where he says, sometimes, people, you see it when it's coming, and it's like, sometimes it's hard you can't put your finger on it, but it's like, that person is just going to do great things. They're out to be a very ambitious person. They're going to do so much incredible things in their lifetime,
Yeah.
And I love when he tells MJ that, and the way he says it is just like, man, that just puts such a big smile on my face.
Yeah.
And I love that she does the same thing for him too, where she's like, you're much taller than you look. And he's all, I hunch.
Yeah.
She just tells him don't, And it's like, she gives him this kind of newfound confidence that he doesn't really, well, sometimes he gets from his Aunt May, but he doesn't really get it from anyone else, know? And I just love that interaction. And obviously, and I think that's the consistent thing I love with this movie too, is I love that they spend time, even though they are like a little bit short and are short at times. I love that they make time to showcase those more drama moments. I love that they showcase and expand on some of the relationships that he has, whether it's with Aunt May or with MJ or even Harry Osborn. I love that the movie spends time to really expand those relationships that I feel like other superhero movies probably wouldn't really spend too much time with.
Yeah. One of the scenes following up with this is cool, and it's one of my favorite aspects of superhero movies. And I wish movies today, we still kind of had things like that. I don't know. It's just part of me. It probably all stems from this movie. Well, so he sees Flash pick her up in the car and everything.
It's
so
a
then
great
he wants to
motivation.
buy a car. So then he starts going through the listings of cars, and then he sees an ad for a wrestling thing that can get him $3,000. And then he starts to design his costume. And I really like that with superhero movies because it just, I don't know, maybe what it is I like it when characters are creative and expressive through their costume, and I like that it feels almost like an extension of the character of him drawing these things out, going through iterations of what he wants it to look like, things like that. I love that. And granted, the scene maybe isn't edited in such a great way.
It's quite the crazy vibe.
I like it. Yeah, it is such a strange, like, even watching it, like there's like the shot of MJ blended in with Peter, and then there's like this car. Which funny. Feels strange, but again, it's
very 2000s though, so it's like it's a little bit like of its time, so it's a bit of a time capsule in that sense.
I feel like we don't get that now in movies. Granted, I think it's because now superhero movies feel the need to kind of jump over the origin a little bit. Of course, sure. Of they're already past that part, but I just like these movies when they have that. I like it when the characters go through iterations of their costume, what defines them.
Yeah. And I think I was going to say the other great thing with that sequence too is like it showcases like Peter Parker is more like kind of, he's like, using the scientific method, and he's kind of like experimenting with like what suits, work for him or what designs work for him, much like a scientist. So it feels like very much like the character, and I love the designs too. Like they look awesome too. Also
they do.
And this wrestling, seeing as you mentioned it, we got this wrestling sequence is insane. Octavia Spencer, I didn't know that. Yeah. She's in the movie. It's funny, like seeing her like as this extra. She's it's funny because she's only in the movie for like 30 seconds, and it's great. That's one thing that I think is great too with this movie, and honestly the other two sequels, is like the extras are very memorable. It feels like very Spielberg-esque, all of them get to shine. But I thought that was like fun little like, oh wow, that was like before they were famous type of performance, And
I like there's a lot to love in this sequence, like Randy Savage's bone saw, just absolutely ridiculous. And
you ain't going nowhere.
And all this audience is like cheering for the other person to die.
Their signs are really funny. There's one side that says like "kill him."
Literally, I'm like, oh my god. And then obviously Bruce Campbell is this announcer guy. Is just amazing.
He's easily one of my favorite running gags throughout this whole trilogy.
And in this, I love it a lot that Spider-Man goes into this, has his whole design, whatever. And obviously Peter, trying to come up with all this stuff, calls himself the human spider.
The human spider.
And that's a great representation of Peter Parker, because he's probably trying to think of what he thinks sounds cool. This and this. Right. And I love that Bruce Campbell, as this announcer, almost immediately is like, oh my God, that sucks. And just on a whim calls him Spider-Man.
The amazing Spider-Man.
And I like that Peter then just is like, all right, I'm Spider-Man, because he probably realized like that sounds
wait, they got my name wrong.
Yeah, and it's funny because that's a great representation of the character of. He's not the one to make up these names. He's not the one to get, but
it's perfect though. Cause it's like, it's a wrestling thing, and it's like, obviously you come up with these like crazy zany characters, and it's like, that's such a perfect way to showcase how he gets his name. It doesn't feel like forced, like, oh, he just saw it on a poster or something somewhere, or you see like some origin stories, they give some like goofy reason of how they got their name,
And funny enough, I one year for Halloween went as the human spider.
Oh yeah.
And I had to make my own costume, and it's surprising how easy it is. I had to do like a cardboard cutout and like spray paint the spider logo on it and everything. But yeah, it's just so great and iconic. Just this little moment of him still figuring out, what is his superhero persona,
or even his outfit too. Also,
and I like how it's done through like a wrestling match. Because it's almost like he's creating it for that. and then the hero stuff happens afterwards, obviously with the tragedy and everything. And that is one thing that I want to jump back to is before this wrestling moment, there is a conversation that happens between him and Uncle Ben in the car, because Uncle Ben realizes Peter's been acting different, and he has to have this talk with him about responsibility, what it means to grow up and be an adult. And I didn't realize it at the time, but one of the things I remember after watching this movie was seeing my parents' reaction to this movie in general. And they always loved this movie. There was such an appreciation there for it, but I think it caught them off guard and I think it caught a lot of people off guard, how great the writing can be in some of these comic books. And it all comes from the line of, with great power comes great responsibility. I remember my parents, even at the time, were blown away by that line. They were like, wow, that's such a great message. That's such a great moral. That's such a great thing to tell a young person. That's such a great thing to instill in a young person before they achieve everything that they're going to, that, hey, while you have all that stuff and that's going to be great and everything, you have to remember that there is a responsibility behind that. When you have all this great stuff, you still have to remember that, you can't take advantage of it, and it's contextualized so well with Uncle Ben and just this brief moment of Peter. These are the years when a man is going to change into the man he's going to become the rest of his life. And he's like, just be careful who you change into. And the tragedy of it, of Peter throwing him and not throwing him, but, just disacknowledging him and not even caring about it. And for him to snap back at him. And this is one of the moments that I like in Amazing Spider-Man 2, but the realization that these aren't his parents. This is his aunt and uncle, and it hits so hard in that line of Peter being like, you're not my dad, stop pretending to be my dad. And Uncle Ben's just like, you're right. And that's such a tragic moment and everything, but such a great moment. And every time I rewatch this movie, and all three of these movies, I love the moral message it has behind each one. Granted, some of them might not be as hard hitting as others, but for me, I feel like they always kind of refocus me anytime I'm like, struggling with life or whatever, just to remember that, growing up, having such a love for this movie, but then now realizing the meaning behind a lot of it is so powerful. And it's funny because I hear interviews with Sam Raimi and everything, and that actually wasn't his original intention behind having these moments in the movie. He wasn't trying to have this moral message throughout the movie. He wasn't trying to do that, but I think he was kind of shocked of how much people resonated with that. He was almost like, wait a minute, that wasn't my original intention, but he does it so well through this movie, and you really feel it with Peter's character, Norman's character, of both sides. You have great power and you see it go bad and you see it go very well.
Yeah, you see it on two other extremes.
Yeah. And I just love this scene of them in the car. It is very short, it's very brief, but I think it's a great, representation of Spider-Man. It's a great representation of people being inspired by Spider-Man, what it means to be him. And yeah, the wrestling match, he is trying to do it for money. He's trying to do it for himself. And then through the tragedy of everything, he now realizes a big portion of his life he's not going to be able to do for just himself anymore. He now has to have that responsibility over everyone else. And it's great. But yeah, just I wanted to mention that scene, man. Like it's just means a lot to me, especially rewatching it. It just hits really hard.
Yeah, I think it means a lot to me too, because it's just like, it's such an incredible sequence, but it also, I think, like, it shows you that like these people aren't going to be with you for a long time. Our time is limited on Earth. We're not guaranteed every day. So I think, sometimes some family members and everything can be a little bit of a pain sometimes, but never take them for granted. Because you know, I mean, even after that wrestling sequence, it's so heartbreaking to know like that killer ended up killing Uncle Ben, you know, it's like, you know, and it's like that last interaction you have can really make or break. It can really just like affect your whole life now, you know, it's like now you're like almost like cursed with it. It's like you're haunted with that one interaction that you had with like a family member of like, that's it, you know,
redo it.
And you can't redo it. You can't go back in time and everything. And it's like, it just shows you how important family can be, you know, in your life, you know, and don't try to just like discount it to the side, or don't try to, you know, just dismiss it, you know, try to listen, you know, try to understand their perspective and where they're coming from, you know, and that's how I at least took it. And that's why it's always really struck a chord with me, you know, and it's why it's something that has always stayed with me for such a long time, you know. Yeah. And then I think it makes it even more heartbreaking because like after, you know, Uncle Ben, he says Peter, that's like his last word, you know, it's like he's the last person that he got to see, you know, and it makes it even more heartbreaking in the second movie, obviously. But man, you seeing him just go on this like revenge tirade for a bit, and you see that he almost ends up not really using his powers for good. He almost like, he kind of kills the guy, you know, but you see it on his face, and it's like revenge it's not worth it, you know?
Yeah. It really, it's quite a crazy roller coaster that we go on with Peter Parker throughout the first half of this movie, of him being the outcast and everything, him having powers, him mistakenly using those powers, him wanting to get closer to, you know, MJ and everything, and in that he dismisses his own family, and then now him having the powers and using them for a dark reason, then to just being the upstanding hero that everyone knows and loves. And it's crazy the amount of different emotions and stuff that we feel throughout this first half, that it all fits. And for some reason, it all works. And I'm just like, wait a minute. That's such a shocking thing. We were watching this movie, is just the span that we go on. And it just feels like no time has passed. And it doesn't feel like we skipped over anything. Granted, there were some parts that I wish were maybe a little longer. But
of course,
in terms of Peter Parker and his character, you understand everything and why he does it, you know? And I think that's something now with superhero movies that we miss out on by jumping over the origin. And now we, you know, they kind of assume that audiences kind of know it, but there are emotions that can really be missed out on, and you can really feel, because now you have that jumping point to then expand on. And that's something that these three movies got very right. And they did it so well that, you know, it's almost like people are scared to even touch on it now, because it's like, yeah, Amazing Spider-Man, they did the origin again. And granted, it felt too similar to this.
Right.
And it almost felt like a cheaper version.
Yeah.
And then now the MCU, they're like, you know what? Those movies did it. I don't even want to touch it. And granted, I wouldn't want to touch it either, because I'm like, this first movie gets it so well, and it does it so right, that it's just like, how do you do it? How do you do a different interpretation of it, you know?
Yeah. I think that's why I loved Into the Spider-Verse too. It's like, it gives like a different kind of spin on like, you know, Miles Morales, and, you know, Peter Parker is kind of more of like a side character, you know, and granted, you know, you have his kind of like uncle and Miles relationship and everything. But yeah, even then I really don't know how you would go about this, you know, because this movie does it so perfectly, you know,
it really does.
But I do, but yeah, like you, I do wish more maybe like origin, you know, some of the other heroes like Marvel does or DC does. I would like to see them maybe expand more on like their kind of origin stories, and have that be like the drama throughout the film, you know.
And granted, I'm not saying these newer movies don't do it right, or it's a disservice. Sure. You know, granted, a lot of them do it very well, and I enjoy it and everything, but there's just something rewarding about approaching the end of a journey and you're looking back at where you started, and it just feels earned. That's something that I feel like these newer movies, I'm always kind of foggy with, of like, wait a minute, where did this, granted, I know where it all came from, because I'm like,
well, of course, like
Superman, fan, I don't need to be explained Superman's origin, but you know, at the end of everything, the most rewarding feeling is, again, looking back and being like, man, I started way down there. And especially seeing Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire, just seeing him progress through these 3 movies. Yeah, when you rewatch this first one, it is almost kind of shocking of seeing how young he is and everything. And I don't know. That's just, I'm kind of caught between 2 worlds. But yeah, this whole sequence of him trying to catch the criminal is great.
Yeah.
Man,
it's phenomenal. Like
something Stanley says with this character that I love so much. And I feel it a lot in this movie, but maybe not so much in some of the other Spider-Man movies is other superheroes. They wear the mask and like Batman, he wears the mask to put fear into his enemies or whatever.
Yeah.
Spider-Man's one character who wears a mask to hide the fact that he's afraid of what's going on. And I feel it so much when he shoots this web again after flying across the street and hitting the wall and sliding down it. I feel the fear in him of shooting this web, and he's almost like scared to take that swing, for chasing after this killer and everything. And it's this great learning moment of him learning how to swing across these webs and everything.
It's an incredible chase sequence.
Or the
he's
shot
like
of him
on the cars,
jumping over the bridge, and he's on the semi truck, and him landing back on it. Just great. Yeah, I love the action in this.
It's phenomenal. Yeah. And then even the way it like transitions after that to like, and granted, I would have liked to see how he got his new suit, but I love how it transitions from him. There's like obviously like a time jump
montage.
Yeah. It's an incredible montage. And like I was kind of mentioning earlier, I love like how Sam Raimi utilizes extras, I like that you get to hear like, the people of New York and you hear their perspectives on Spider-Man, or you see that one guy singing the Spider-Man theme, which is hilarious.
And that's part of the character. And that's such a great thing that anytime you read a Spider-Man comic or play a game or whatever,
New York is like a character.
Is a character. It is why he does what he does. That's what he feels propelled by, and granted, this montage thing, them doing the little interviews and stuff does feel kind of strange, but I do enjoy it. Like, I like how they're all talking about what they think of him. Like the girls are like idolizing him or whatever. Yeah. Then it cuts to this guy who's clearly shady. He's like, he stinks and I don't like him. Or you have the guy with the song and everything, which is great. And then him leaving like the little notes and everything.
Yeah. Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
And it culminates so perfectly in literally, again, people are going to say probably some of the greatest casting ever to take place in a comic book movie.
Probably the most perfect casting in any comic book.
J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson.
Phenomenal.
Seamless, literally seamless. Like just that introduction of all these people talking about who is Spider-Man. And it's just the newspaper. Who is Spider-Man? He's a criminal. That's who he is. And then you see him perfect. Literally ripped straight out of a comic.
Great introduction to the Daily Bugle too.
Amazing. That's such great editing and everything. And man, there's a reason they have not recast this character across 25 years. It's because this performance is so good. Like he just captures it so well.
Even just down to like the costume and everything. It's perfect. I mean, obviously it's weird to see J.K. Simmons with hair, obviously, but man, it's he just nails it down to the last minute detail.
Crazy.
He's so good in this movie.
Yeah. And the quips he has, the stuff he talks about, the way he talks to his staff and everything is just so entertaining and funny.
Very bossy for sure.
Yeah. And I like that we have skepticism all personified in one person. There are going to be people who love Spider-Man, but now we're going to show the reason why some people might not like him.
Right.
And it's all culminated in this character, which I think is just great. And you need that side of it as well. You need that balance of, people really will like Spider-Man and everything. They're going to love him, savior of New York. But no matter what Spider-Man does, there's still going to be those people who don't like him. Yeah. Same thing with anyone in life. That's a great message to learn, that no matter what you do,
you can't please everyone.
Some people might not like you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, just the performance in this is just top notch. Throughout all three movies, he is just top notch.
Oh yeah, easily. They don't even put him in Amazing Spider-Man for some reason. I don't know why.
Spoiler, I literally started cheering when I saw him again in
Far From Home.
Far From Home.
He's like a podcaster.
Like it's just
I'm like, that's perfect.
It's like, of course, like
of course he's a podcaster.
And even in the Amazing Spider-Man, like there's a brief part in the second movie where Peter's having these emails back and forth with J. Jonah Jameson because he takes pictures for the Bugle. They never show him in that movie, but the person I'm picturing is this. Like, it's just synonymous at this point.
Yeah, no, it's great. And
Peter realizes I can make money, by taking photos of Spider-Man.
Yeah. The photography thing ends up kind of working out for him.
He sets up all the stuff and everything. And then
he's all crap.
Well, I just like the shot of him looking through these photos.
And they're all great.
They're great. And then he looks at one that's like Spider-Man, like saluting the cops. And he just glances up at Peter. And Peter just like kind of smiles. And then he's like crab. He's like basically trying to lowball him and everything.
Yeah,
and,
he's all, I'll give you $200.
And I like the back and forth that they have.
Their back and forth banter is great.
It's great. And then it's kind of strange because after this whole thing, there's a part of J. Jonah's character of him almost protecting Peter, which I found it's like a blink and you'll miss it moment. But anyways. I guess I could just talk about it now, but the Green Goblin shows up to the Bugle and is demanding who takes the pictures of Spider-Man. And he's about to kill Jameson, and Jameson does not tell him who it is. And I'm like, that's very interesting. Again, it's such a small moment, but he literally, his life is on the line and he's not going to say, oh, it's Peter Parker, Yeah.
I always got the vibe with J. Jonah Jameson that he's like, on the outside, he's like this tough shell, like hard ass and everything. But I feel like on the inside, he does like genuinely care. Like, I think he is a genuinely caring person, on the inside, and I think he does care about his photographers. He just doesn't show it, obviously, but, I think he does care about them enough to not be like, oh, he's there, he is willing to like protect, his own, like not like freelance photographers or employees,
One of the other sides of this movie that I haven't touched on until now, but I wanted to talk about it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Norman Osborn.
His origin is great too.
Yeah, that's where a lot of the scariness comes. Like,
it freaked me out as a kid. It still freaks me out even now.
So and I like how small it is. So it's like, it just shows that, Oscorp is this successful business, but they're also kind of dependent on,
looks like Intel,
the contracts behind them of trying to get this military contract, and they're designing all these weapons and things, which is cool. And then it shows Norman's pursuit of still being that scientist and everything. And because of that, he's going to bypass a lot of the safety regulations and things. And it ends up being his own downfall.
I'm something of a scientist myself.
And he literally, in this scene of him transforming and everything, man,
zoom in.
It's crazy. It's terrifying. Like, he grabs his scientist partner and throws him, and he like jumps, and the face and noise he makes is terrifying. He like jumps and lands in this goblin like pose. Like, I just now every time I see that, I'm just like, how did he come up with that? Like, granted, obviously watching the comics, that's kind of how Green Goblin looks and everything.
Right. Maybe he saw Batman.
Terrifying.
Yeah. He saw gargoyles.
And I think that's why a lot of his scenes are kind of chopped and edited, because you got to remember there are kids watching this thing, but there are multiple moments in this, just jump scares and
I know that's all three of these movies have like at least some kind of like horror, like terrifying scene in them.
And this movie, I love the parallels. So granted, I don't think it's 100% true of comic representation, but I think that in this adaptation it works really well. Is Green Goblin is almost like a split personality, split personality, it's like this other side of him, and the parallel between him and Spider-Man is so great. So you have this person who is pretty much forced to wear this mask, propelled to wear this mask through responsibility. You know, he now realizes by letting that guy go, bad things happen because he didn't step up and do anything about it. So now at this point, throughout his life, he feels the responsibility of no matter what, if something bad is happening, I have to step up and help. And I feel propelled to do that through responsibility. And the parallel, which I think is really great, is Green Goblin. He wears this mask and everything, and what propels him to do all this stuff and seek revenge on his bosses and everything. His company, his
board of directors.
What propels him to wear this mask and everything is insanity. And that's such a great parallel that I love between him and Spider-Man throughout this whole movie. Is they both have those dual lives. They both have those dual roles that they service. Yeah. And you see this different sides of that. You know, that's so amazing. It's incredible. Because I know in a lot of the comics, it's once he turns Green Goblin, that's it. There's no dual side of it. There's nothing. But I think in this movie, that was such a smart choice to show the parallel between your hero and villain. And you do it in such a great way. And it makes the Goblin character really terrifying, because you see Norman at parts in this movie and he doesn't know, he can't recall what happens. You know, it's almost like he disappeared for part of his life, and he's kind of like trying to figure out, wait, what is happening? Like when he wakes up and one of his employees is like, someone broke into Oscorp, stole the glider, did all this. And he's like, he doesn't even know what he just did. And I'm like, that's scary. That
is so scary. You know, it's like that, you know, like that thing we talk about sometimes of like not having control over your own body, or even that sequence where he's talking in the mirror, you know, and he's like, his face is changing, and it's like
iconic scene.
Dang, I mean, if that isn't an incredible, scary portrayal of split personality, like holy crap. Yeah. That made me even more terrified of like Green Goblin than I already did, you know. His costume too. I know some people are like, oh, it's like a Power Rangers type of thing, but I kind of dig the costume.
I think it works.
Yeah, I think I like it. I think it looks, you know, it kind of looks like the modern like tech like thing like Oscorp was coming up with anyway. So I'm like, it fits for the character.
I could see where people are coming from, and I could see where they come from multiple sides. Like even comic fans, like I can see why they were upset, but I think this is one of those moments for me where the adaptation really services this really well. Like I mentioned with the whole thing with the masks, showing Norman talking to this mask and everything. That doesn't work if you use a prosthetic and he's talking to it like a face or something.
That would be kind of weird.
That would be scary. That would be weird. And granted, I think Sam Raimi could pull it off, but I like
that it's like those like tribal masks.
Yeah. And I like that it's all personified through that. And same thing. That's the parallel to Spider-Man. He wears a mask, you know, with this mask on, he does great things, you know? Mm-hmm. And this is the other side of that coin.
He more instills fear.
And one thing that I really like with it, granted, and so one of the things that I don't think people know is they worked very tirelessly to have a prosthetic mask over this kind of armor type thing. And there's footage of it and images of what this thing was going to look like.
Oh, wow.
And it's terrifying. It is absolutely terrifying. Like you see this thing can form expressions, the eyes close and everything. They're like these crazy big eyes and stuff. It looks crazy. It looks terrifying.
Okay, I'll have to look it up.
And I think that might have been maybe a little too much. Granted, it would be cool to see, but then the other side of it too, you do something like that. And granted, I know people say this is a detriment to the movie as well. Willem Dafoe is so good. He's so good at portraying this craziness, this insanity.
Yes, scarily
people
well.
Say the mask blocks that. And I agree with that to some extent. But what the great thing with the mask is he can take it off. And there are still those moments where he's talking to himself. Or there's those great moments where he's talking to people and the goblin's slipping through. You know, I love it how
that Thanksgiving scene.
I love it how the goblin refers to Peter as Parker. Anytime you hear the goblin talking, he says Parker. Yet when it's Norman talking, he says Peter. You know, those little
Peter.
moments where he's talking and like, for instance, like Harry comes in and he's like, "Oh, you're right. MJ's in love with Peter." And it's almost like that made him mad. You know, I love that with this character and everything. So again, I can see both sides. Granted, the look of it, I just really love.
Me
and
too,
I think
I think it's a great
works.
look.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really does. Especially that sequence with the parade and everything.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that introduction is phenomenal.
And it's not distracting. Like,
Yeah.
Granted, I think it'd be one thing, like maybe if I grew up a comic fan, I might feel differently.
Sure. Yeah.
But for me, it does service it very well.
Yeah, it definitely does. And that parade sequence is crazy.
Yeah.
You know, there's a Stan Lee cameo actually in there too.
Yeah.
It took me 30 viewings to figure that out.
Oh, wow.
No, I'm just kidding right now. But yeah, it's like a blink it and you'll miss it. The original Stan Lee cameo.
Yeah.
But no, it's crazy the way he kills his board of directors too. He like puts the bomb and it's like they turn
vaporize.
they turn into skeletons and then they like vaporize pretty much into dust. Yeah. That was insane. I love the moment where like Spider-Man's jumping on the inflatables.
Yeah.
And it like turns into this like hand-to-hand like combat type of thing.
And there's a great moment too of MJ talking to Harry, and this is where you can kind of see Peter is very different. So Harry's with MJ, and they're there to meet her dad for the first time, and he says he wanted her to wear like a specific color because that's Norman's favorite color.
Yeah,
and it's almost like now you're starting to see why MJ eventually just falls for Peter, is because he loves her for who she is.
Yeah.
He elevates that, you know, she talks about wanting to be an actress and stuff. And you can tell 100% that he wants that for her. On the other side, you see Harry wanting to appease other people. He wants to live up to some type of image, you know,
or weird expectation.
And it shows you the effect that Uncle Ben and Aunt May had on Peter, of raising him right. You know, that's the one thing I love with superheroes in general is it shows the power of being good parents, you know, having the right upbringing and everything.
Or having a good adult figure too in your life.
Just like this only could have turned out right because of these people in Peter's life. You know, had he had a different upbringing, you would have a totally different character, you know?
Yeah. And it's the same thing. Like earlier we were talking about that scene where like MJ and Peter have that interaction and you see like, you know, MJ's like, well, your aunt and uncle don't yell, you know?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, they can scream pretty good sometimes, you know? And it's like, that kind of shows you like, kind of like also like that upbringing too. And it just shows like how he was raised also by his aunt and uncle.
And this is a great scene, like the action in this scene, like, oh man, like one of the shots that still kind of blows my mind is Peter jumping after MJ, trying to grab her before she hits the ground. And it shows them in one shot almost hitting the ground, and then they go back up. Like that's great.
That was a great moment.
Awesome. Yeah.
I don't know if it was in reference to that one Spider-Man story though, where he couldn't save Gwen.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Yeah. I felt like it could have been. And then I got a little bit of flashbacks from Amazing Spider-Man from that. But no, it is a great shot though. It's a great sequence. Her dress is really cool too. Yeah. I love a lot of the costume design in this movie. It's fantastic.
It is.
That scene where the building's on fire too. That was like such a, that was crazy. Yeah. The way they build it up though was great. You know, obviously he goes and saves the baby. You see like the citizen is like, you know, thanking him. And I think it also shows like Spider-Man's character too, of like, you know, you only really have to save, you know, it only takes one person to save, you know, you can't save everybody, you know?
Yeah.
And I love that he goes back up there, you know, you hear the screaming, you know, and you see the cop is like about to arrest him. He's like, I'm not going to come back, you know?
Yeah.
And he's like, just go save him. You know, the cop tells him, you know, and it's just like kind of shows you like he might be in trouble, but he also has to go and save and do his job too at the same time, you know, kind of shows you how some of the police officers and everything feel, you know, after that whole incident with the Daily Bugle and everything. And yeah, the way they build up the sequence is incredible, you know, it still gets me every time, you know, he's like walking through like the fire and everything. He's trying to call out to the person. And as he's like I think he like touches the person on the shoulder. You see the Green Goblin's mask, and you just hear this like loud screech. I literally jumped out of my seat, and it has this crazy sequence where they're like fighting and everything, and then he uses like this like tear gas type of thing or something.
And he throws like these flying daggers, which are so iconic and everything.
Yeah.
The slow motion shots actually look really cool of him like jumping
fantastic.
and avoiding it and everything. It works really well.
Yeah, it's a great moment. And then obviously he can't dodge one of them, so he gets that like scar on his arm, you know, which plays greatly into the next scene too. Yeah. You know, and that whole sequence was insane. Yeah. It's a great like adrenaline rush of sorts, you know?
Yeah. And it's cool because it shows the dual life of both of them, them now going to this Thanksgiving lunch, dinner and everything. And they both just came from seeing each other.
I know, yeah. The tension is insane.
And you see the side of it of like Norman looking like he's possessed in the elevator.
Yeah.
It just looks weird.
He looks like he's rolling his eyes or something.
Yeah. And then Peter showing up, swinging into the room and everything, and him being on the roof.
That drop of blood, that drops, it looks like ketchup or something.
Felt very much like almost kind of homage to Mission Impossible.
How he's
that's like doesn't want the sweat to hit the floor and everything.
Another Mission Impossible.
And it's a great scene. And then the Goblin, you see him taking over Norman at multiple points, is just like him seeing the blood hit the ground, him looking up, and he goes outside and you see like the expression. He makes this noise. He makes like this great noise of like, and he just sounds weird. And that's such a great choice. He sounds
possessed.
By Willem Dafoe. I feel like that just to me is just so iconic and everything. And you see the switch on his face so well.
He does so incredible. Again, it's very scary, but he does fantastic with that. And that whole Thanksgiving sequence was great too. I like that he brings the can of cranberries. You know? That was pretty funny too. And I again like that, like you were kind of mentioning, it showcases the relationship Harry and MJ have. You know, Harry's just like doesn't even stand up for her. That was crazy. I'm like, damn, bro.
One of the things that I like in this movie that I feel like laid the groundwork very well for following superhero movies is having the moment where Goblin kidnaps Spider-Man with the smoke and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, at that point you'd be like, oh, was he going to kill him? You know,
right.
But
climax is about to start. Yeah.
He has a conversation with him of almost trying to turn him. And him working together, him using the people of New York City as almost a weapon against him, you know? And this is what we mean by New York City is almost like a character throughout, you know, the Spider-Man mythos and everything.
Yeah.
Same thing with any superhero. They have their city, you know, and
of course
their perception plays such a big role into their reasons for being a superhero, you know, things like that. And you feel it so much in this interaction of Goblin trying to say, you know, eventually at some point, you know, in spite of everything you've done for them, they're going to hate you. And he feels like he 100% knows that, you know, he's like, no matter what, that's going to happen. And he's like, why bother, basically? You know, you're going to save all these people countless times. We're going to battle each other, and he's like, what's the point? They're going to hate you. Everyone's going to hate you, you know? But Spider-Man, no matter that thought being in his head, no matter what Goblin tells him, he still is going to treat each person in New York like they're worth giving a chance, you know?
Yeah.
And that's such a great moment in this movie that I feel like lays the groundwork for a lot of different superhero movies moving forward. Like in The Dark Knight, literally they're battling over the soul of Gotham, you know? In Superman, you know, it's very much the perception in James Gunn's Superman about, you know, what Metropolis thinks, and Lex Luthor trying to use Metropolis against Superman, you know, trying to turn them against him by, you know, leaking this footage or whatever, you know. And I feel like it all came from this movie, you know, this perception of, what the people think of them. Granted, probably was in the Tim Burton Batmans and maybe Christopher Reeve's Supermans. But for me, this was that defining moment, and that's such a great part of superhero mythos of the town they're trying to save can ultimately be used as a weapon against them by the wrong person.
Yeah. And I think it also too, it shows them as like this public figure of sorts also, much like a celebrity or town person, I think that also kind of grounds it too of like showcasing like the city's perspective on what's going on, and how they feel about like a certain superhero, So I love that. I love that the film takes full advantage of that.
Mm-hmm. And you feel it almost immediately because like in that sequence, he's technically wanted by the police, but then in this movie and then multiple movies past this, you feel the love New York has for Spider-Man.
Oh yeah. And it gets me every time.
Yeah, it's great. It is great. Because it feels rewarding, and it's funny because in showing someone who's really young, these movies and everything, the fact that you would think the most rewarding feeling would be him getting the girlfriend, him, solving his money issues, whatever,
or him saving the day from the villain.
The fact that New York believes in him is such a rewarding feeling because you feel like all of his work is paying off, you know? And again, like that's one of the things I want to mention with this movie being that origin story is you really can turn back to that conversation at multiple points throughout this trilogy and realize Spider-Man was right, Granted, not everyone loves him, not 100%, but
of course,
no matter what, he's still going to try.
He's going to give it 100% no matter what. And I mean, there's this other heartbreaking scene where Aunt May almost gets killed by the Green Goblin.
That's insane.
And she
another jump scare.
I know, that was scary too.
Or when he falls asleep on Aunt May in the hospital and then the Goblin just out of nowhere, jump scare wakes him up.
Nightmare sequence. I was like, whoa, what was that?
It's crazy.
She's you're not Superman, you can't be everywhere.
One of the other scenes I want to talk about, we're going into depth with this movie probably. I apologize for all the listeners.
Sorry about that, guys.
But iconic scene, and great kind of precursor to this scene as well. You see Peter's side with MJ, which is really good. And he talks to her and basically is trying to reassure her of everything she has going in her life, through these brief moments and everything. And then these group of thugs follow her down a dark alley and stuff.
Man,
and Spider-Man saves her and everything. And
he doesn't even have his mask on.
And the iconic scene of them kissing and everything.
One of the most beautiful kisses in any movie, period.
He won an award for it. He won the MTV Award Best Kiss winner.
Well deserved. Well deserved. I mean, that shot is so iconic though,
It really is.
It really is one of my favorite shots in not only just any superhero movie, but just in any movie.
It really is very, very iconic, And that's a great moment and everything. And you get the dual side of it too, of you feel Peter wants to tell this person, you want
to tell her how you feel and everything.
And throughout the course of this movie, you really get the feeling of there's more at stake than just his life. And this is the great part where the responsibility comes into play of what Uncle Ben is talking about, with all your great power and everything and all the things that you can do and you can achieve, there is a responsibility that there's going to be there no matter what. And it's through the people that you love. It's through the people that you care about. You have to remember, while you can do all these great things and everything, they're still going to be there, and I didn't understand it at the time. When I was a kid, I was always like, well, why can't he just tell her that he's Spider-Man?
I was the same way too, but
now watching it as an adult and everything, it's just like,
that makes sense.
It's understandable. Her life is at stake. Aunt May's life is at stake. Harry's life is at stake, all the people in his life that he cares about.
Well, Harry hates Spider-Man, so yeah, his life is even more at stake.
And that is the tragedy of the character, because it really is like he goes through all this alone, and yeah, that is heartbreaking, and that is a very sad tragedy with this character, and that's why I love the second movies, because they get into that like 100%. But yeah, that is
it's phenomenal. It's
that's
fantastic.
A great through line throughout this whole movie, is tying back to that responsibility between living two lives and everything. Yeah.
And it shows you like how difficult that can be too at times, I mean, even obviously we can get into this climactic sequence too, where he has to choose between either MJ or he has to choose between, saving these kids, obviously, the superhero trope you see.
Like what does Norman say? He's like, some freak will come along with a sadistic choice or whatever. Just like, well, oh my God, these kids, he's ready to jump. Why are these kids on a freaking, tramway trolley at in the evening? It's like late at night.
Yeah, maybe
I don't know.
Maybe they're getting home from the field trip, So
maybe.
But I like the moment where Green Goblin's all the itsy bitsy spider. That was hilarious.
Or him calling or picking up NJ's phone. And he's like, "Can Spider-Man come out to play?"
Oh, that was great. Yeah, that was a great way to get into the
climax. That'd be terrifying.
Oh, I'd be
call
scared.
Your girlfriend and someone said like,
I'd have a heart attack right there. I'd be like, just put me in the hospital.
Crazy.
But crazy. But it's a great sequence. I like that he's able to save both at the same time. Again, shows his character.
Great representation,
Yeah, it's phenomenal. And then I love seeing like the people of New York, they're like throwing stuff at Green Goblin and everything. He's like, don't mess with Spider-Man. Oh man. Again, it still gets me. It's like, it's so heartwarming and everything, and again, it shows you that the city really does care about Spider-Man, even though you do have its haters, it does show you that they'll stand by you no matter what. And great climactic scene with Spider-Man and Green Goblin. They're fighting in this like abandoned house. It looks like it's
literally grabs him by a cable and like throws him into the building.
I know, it's great.
Which is great.
It's an incredible action sequence.
Love with this. They do it sometimes in the other movies and things, but I feel it so much in this movie is the battle damage that the suit can get under.
Yeah, especially with the bomb, the way that slow motion goes off. Oh my goodness.
You see the suit tearing and everything. That's one thing that I love. It's a great attention to detail moment. Granted, it doesn't like elevate this, to such a crazy degree, but I love that. I love that that's there.
But it shows you Spider-Man isn't like some like perfect superhero or anything, He's still like a human at the end of the day.
And seeing his face through the mask and everything is great. And that serves to the point too of this isn't Norman. This is this goblin character, because you can see his face and everything, and the goblin doesn't pay any mind to it. He's still trying to kill him and everything.
Yeah, it's still still heartbreaking though. It's still like really sad, Or even the moment when he's like trying to manipulate him, and you can see like this shot of like he brings the glide over there. He's like bringing the glide to kill him, and it's like, dang, he's still trying to like kill him. He's still possessed by this character, this goblin.
The special effects of the web. There's this part where Goblin's trying to run at him, and he spins this web, and Goblin starts ripping through it and everything. I love the way that web assembles and everything. It looks so cool.
Yeah, it's an awesome effect.
Yeah, I feel like they really did a lot with the practical feeling. Anytime you see them fighting and everything, it looks great.
Yeah.
Or Goblin's jumping through the air, kicking him and just wailing into him, man. You really feel a lot of these punches and everything.
Yeah, you really do feel the action, and it keeps you on the edge of your seat too. And for me, it keeps me on my toes. Even now, I've seen this so many times. It's still like super entertaining.
The great moment of him trying to kill Spider-Man with this glider, and it ultimately ends up killing him. Is crazy.
And then the last thing he tells him, he's all, Peter, don't tell Harry.
Yeah.
And then he's all.
And such a crazy choice of Goblin sneaking up like, I tried to stop it. Don't let him take me again. You know, he's like portraying this thing, and then out of nowhere, Godspeed, Spider-Man. And then the glider flies at him. Spider-Man jumps out of the way, and like I love the cut of just Norman. He's all and then gets stabbed.
I know, it's a crazy
it's such
shot.
a crazy cut of him just being like,
He's all, whoops, that backfired.
And it just kills him. Yeah, again, I feel like only Sam Raimi has such a defining fingerprint moment, which I love.
It's great, yeah. I don't think anybody else could pull that off.
It's insane, but I love that it's there. And then, it's sad to see him die. And then he says, don't tell Harry. You know?
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, which makes for some great drama, obviously, in that second and third one.
It is a great moment to leave off on because Spider-Man brings the body back and Harry sees Spider-Man and freaks out. And at the end, you get this great moment of him saying, you know, Spider-Man will pay, you know?
Yeah.
Which is a great note to leave off on. And then the great moment between him and MJ.
Phenomenal. Great. It's fantastic.
You really, man, the way this movie ends, you just get such a great representation of this character, you know?
Yeah.
I love the ending dialogue of him saying, this is my gift. This is my curse, you know?
That narration is great.
It's great because it literally is an amazing gift. It is such a great power that you can use to help people, you know? It's amazing. But then also for him, it is a curse as well because he can't tell the people in his life. You know, he has to do this alone.
He has to make that sacrifice, unfortunately.
Exactly, but he's going to do it every time. That's such a great, I love the way this movie ends.
Or even that kiss that they share, you know, and I think I have a feeling she did know.
She did.
And obviously it's a great, spoilers for Spider-Man 2. It's a great revelation in that movie, but you know, but again, it's like, you know, she gives him that kiss. They have that kiss, and then he's like, I can just only be your friend, you know? And it's like, it shows you, it's like, you don't want to risk that person's life, you know, no matter how much you love them, you're going to do everything in your power to make sure they still stay safe, you know, even though you can't take it to that next step, you know, and it's like, oh God, it's a gut punch.
It's great. And then the ending swinging, you know, the music and everything's so great.
It's such a great way to end
shots too. I love the shots of him. I love the shot of it going down in between the cars, you know.
It's such an awesome shot. It's a great first POV shot. And then him standing like next to like the American flag and everything on the pole. And then like he just like swings his web. It's like, I love that. It's so incredible.
It really is great.
And wow. I realized we went pretty in depth there,
but went really in depth,
man, there's just so much to say about it. It's just one of my favorite superhero films of all time. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. Yeah. It's a movie I can, like, you know, I've mentioned it. It's like, I can just watch this over and over again. And I get so much out of this. This movie gives me so much hope. It gives me so much faith in humanity at times, which I know it sounds kind of a little corny, but it really does, you know? And I love the action sequences in this movie. I love the drama in this film, you know, and it has a great balance of balancing both, where it doesn't go into either extreme. It finds like a good balance of both, and it does both incredibly well. The acting is incredible for the most part, aside from James Franco. He's okay in the movie. You know, it has a great pace to it too. Obviously, like you, there are maybe a scene or two that I would have wanted to see a little bit more of, especially with him learning his powers. But man, it really just keeps you on your toes. It keeps you on the edge of your seat, you know? And that's what I want a superhero film to do for me, you know? And it has such a fantastic villain. I love the dynamic between Spider-Man and Green Goblin. It's phenomenal throughout this movie. It has some great horror elements too that like surprisingly don't feel out of place, and it gives it a great like style that I feel like some other filmmakers I don't think would have taken advantage of, you know? And it's such an amazing movie. I cannot say enough nice things about it. I think score for me, I'd probably say I'm at like a 9.5 out of 10.
Nice.
Only thing kind of holding me back is just some of the dated CGI at some points in the movie. Obviously, I mean, it's from the 2000s, so it's bound to happen. And then, like I said, just James Franco is kind of like serviceable in the movie, but I would have probably preferred like a different Harry Osborn or somebody else, like a Leonardo DiCaprio or someone like that, you know, would have been a better choice. But Yeah, other than that, I mean, man, it's such an amazing movie. It's easily one of my favorite superhero films. And yeah, this film really solidified this, and the second one, and even the third one, solidified like Spider-Man being my favorite superhero of all time.
Yeah. There's a lot to love with this movie. Everything I've said, I just believe 100%. I don't think it's by mistake that I was fortunate enough to watch this movie when I was 5. Yeah. I am super grateful that for some reason those two timelines intersected at the perfect moment to me. Watch this as a kid.
Yeah.
I can't even explain how much these movies mean to me. And just hearing, again, at a young age, that great message that I just didn't fully understand. And yet I can always turn back to this movie anytime I feel like maybe I'm not 100% understanding the world around me.
Right.
You know, even as I'm growing up now, of just hearing the line, with great power comes great responsibility, is such an iconic message and line.
It's a timeless message.
You feel it so much throughout this movie. And that just means so much to me. The performances in this movie I love. Granted, there are some things that I wish were a little different, especially again, as my love of this character has grown and I've gotten to see a lot of great interpretations and a lot of great sides to this character. Yes, there are some parts in this movie that I feel like maybe don't service that 100%. Like, for instance, I don't necessarily feel the friendship between Harry and Peter as much as I would like to.
Yeah, it's okay.
They say they're best friends, but I don't really feel it that much.
They feel more like enemies. Yeah.
Well, it's just kind of strange because it's like there's that scene of like Norman meeting Peter for the first time. And I'm like, wait, this is like your son's best friend. Like, have you not met him?
I know. Yeah.
Until they're both seniors in high school. I don't know. But yeah, that is kind of a detriment, I feel like, to where this trilogy does end up going.
Right.
Of maybe we could have felt this friendship a little bit more, just so that betrayal and the reveals hit harder.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you think that's like the acting, or do you think that's just
I don't think it's
maybe
the acting.
writing?
I think it's the writing. I feel like they really were handling a lot in this movie.
Yeah.
And they were trying to make sure they hit all the points and everything.
For sure.
So again, that is one of the detriments that I do have with this movie. And then, yeah, some of the editing and stuff, it is of the time. Which again, you watch any movie, there are gonna be choices that were made specifically during that time and everything.
Like, hold on, let me look up what this movie came out.
Some can be pretty jarring. The little bite sequence and this 3D thing kind of happens. Or like I said, that image of this car superimposed.
And it's like MJ smiling.
Yeah, just strange. But again, it is of the time. That's not too much of a detriment.
It doesn't like fully take me out, but it does. I have to remind myself. I'm like, this is early 2000s.
But again, it's so great for anyone who loves comic book movies. Watching this movie, you really are in for such a treat, because you really get to watch what superhero movies were like before there was a successful defining blueprint. You know, unfortunately nowadays I feel like because there are so many of them, they are trying to emulate a successful format.
Right. And sometimes they kind of blend in with one another.
Yeah.
Too also,
and I just feel like this is, again, why this movie can feel strange at sometimes, is because that blueprint was not there. You know, you really were watching a director do the things that he thought were right, for this movie, which again, I love this movie for it. So yeah, overall, this is a very important film for me. It's not perfect, but
of course,
I love it so much for what it is. Man, I can't even, like, spoiler alert, because of this movie and this whole trilogy, I had a strange moment that I've never had in a movie watching No Way Home. Just seeing Tobey Maguire in a costume again. And I didn't feel sad. I didn't feel, like depressed or anything. Yeah. I was so happy that tears were going down my face, and I couldn't explain it. And it was so strange just seeing him again on screen as Peter Parker. I just remember like wiping my eyes. I was like, wait a minute, I'm crying right now. I'm like so happy. I'm so excited. And it was just so crazy. But yeah, that was just an amazing moment watching a movie. And again, it's because of these movies. I'm going to end it there because I feel like I'm glazing this too hard.
No, you're good.
But I love this movie.
Yeah.
So I think overall score wise, I'm probably at like a 9 out of 10.
Nice.
Again, there are some parts that I wish were expanded on, like I mentioned with the powers and everything.
Yeah, for sure.
I like that when a superhero movies kind of delve into that. And then again, just the friendship between Peter and Harry, I feel like is a detriment to the overall story of Spider-Man, especially because this trilogy focuses so much on those two.
Yeah.
I just never felt like they were friends. Even rewatching it and everything, I'm just like, yeah, I was always told they were friends, but I never really
see it.
You don't see it. You don't see Harry really do much for Peter. You don't see, well, obviously Peter's there for Harry, but I don't know.
Right.
That's just, to me, a missed the mark.
I always felt like Harry was just so jealous of Peter a lot of the time that I was like, are you sure they're friends? You know? And I just maybe I guess what it was could be too is like maybe they just wanted to establish it of where they've been friends for a while and now they're friendship is tearing apart. Could only be my guess, but yeah. But I do agree. I do wish that was something that was fixed more in these other two movies and everything. But yeah. But I feel that same way though with the No Way Home. I wouldn't say it was more like a crying or anything like that. It more just felt like an old friend, like you haven't seen in a while and you're just catching up with him again and no time has really passed, you know? So I definitely understand how you feel with that. Tobey Maguire coming back in No Way Home. And it was such a big surprise. I was like, there's no way they're going to bring him back for this. And then when I saw him, I was like, oh my God.
It was crazy.
They actually brought him back.
In being in that theater is like being in a football stadium.
I know.
People were yelling. Like,
me too.
Wow. Man, it was amazing.
Yeah. It's surreal, but yes. Amazing movie. I could talk about Spider-Man for hours and hours. That you guys can see. We're probably at a lot of time, so I'll stop it there. But I hope to talk more about obviously this trilogy more in the future, and then obviously the Spider-Verse films I would love to talk about at some point. So Spider-Man, he means so much to me. I can't thank everybody involved who's made Spider-Man and everything. He's one of those characters that I just love, and I'll watch anything that has Spider-Man in it. So
100%.
Thank you. So what do you have for us next time?
Next time, going with a different type of movie, strange movie that I just coincidentally saw when I was like in middle school, I believe, is a movie called Under the Same Moon. It is a movie that deals with immigration and follows this kid on a young journey from Mexico to America. I don't know. I just remember this movie strangely. And I was like, wait a minute. I remember really enjoying that movie. I've seen it, I would say at least 3 or 4 times. Definitely talking about Spider-Man and trying to, remember movies when I was a kid and everything. This was a movie I just wanted to talk about that, I kind of just remembered that I had seen. Have you heard or seen this movie?
Oh my God. Yeah. I saw this in Spanish class actually in 8th grade.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's so funny. I always forgotten the name of the movie because I remember liking it. There was I remember a scene that stood out to me, but I could just never remember the name of the movie. But I have seen this movie before. I remember really enjoying it. I haven't seen it since, so it's been a long while.
It has been a while since I've seen it too. So I'm really hoping that I enjoy this as much as I did. Kind of wanted to talk about, I guess, a different kind of movie that I normally talk about. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited to get into this. Absolutely. So
cool.
Yeah. All right. Good day and good night, mates.
We'll see you on the next one.